Hi everyone. Today I'm going to represent about var class in Java, or actually it should belong to java.io package, java.io package. Okay, and the first class that we're going to study inside this package is var class. What is a var class? Var class is used to represent represent information, okay, about file or directory. Yeah, okay, a file class can represent information for both a file or directory inside your hard disk. Then another um, um, another things is it also provides, okay, it also provides functionality for you to work with file or directory. Okay, it's like the definition of any Java class. Java class including a common characteristics, which is information about the file or directories here, and also functionality or behaviors of the class. They are called in form of functionalities or methods for us to work with files or directories. Then you can check whether a file is you can check whether a file is representing a file or a directory by checking is file, okay, or is checking a method which is called is directory. This will provide you whether your file object is representing a file or directory. Okay, now then how do you create that one? Is the file class. Okay, that one is about the file class. And how do you create an object from this file class? Normally when you create an object, creating, okay, it's about creating, okay, file objects to, of course, represent information about the file or the directory, or also to work with that one. So in order to create a file object, you normally need a path. What is this path? This path is pointing to um, this path is pointing to the file, the working file or directory. Okay, working file or directory. Now several of the and the path here is in two forms. The first one is in absolute form, absolute path. This one is starting from root directory. Let's say inside Mac it's gonna start from this one, then so like users, then so on and so forth, the folder names. But then in Windows maybe C, then slash, then some folder, okay, so on and so forth there. Okay, so this kind of path is called the absolute path because it starts from the it starts from the um, start from the root directories of the computer. Then it's maybe in form of relative path. What does that mean? Relative to what? Relative to current folder of the project. Okay, current working folders of the project. Well, where is the current working folder project? You're going to see later when I show you a demo. Then you can use file object, okay, to represent information or characteristic about the directory, and the path is about the name of the file, about the path of the file, of course, absolute as well as relative. Okay, the name, the path, the modified date, last modified dates, the it is directory or is file. Then you can also some of the information is for the information. Let's say the name, the last modified date, the length of it, so on and so forth, the file type, so on and so forth. Now it's also containing the behaviors or functionality or methods, or actually the behavior of the object. And this behavior like this behavior like behavior, okay, like These behaviors like the method, let's say first one is to check is a file, it is a file, or is directory. Okay, to see this object is a file or a directory. Other behaviors um, you can get path, get names. Okay, you can check if the file or the directory exists. Okay, you can also rename the file, you can also create, you can also delete, so on and so forth. So we actually it provides almost all the functionalities that you often work with your file in a computer like this. You can right click, you copy, and you rename, you can so on and so forth. Okay. Now, that one is very much it. So we're going to create an application to demonstrate all of this point. Okay, this one is not to be complete list, but it's just ideally about those things. Okay, so we're going to create a new Java application. Then I'm going to browse for NetBeans projects, and we are in ANSYS. I think where is ANSYS? Anyone can code ANSYS. Okay. Then we're going to create this one is file demo. Okay, file class demo, finish. Okay. Okay, now from this one, let's say I'm going to browse the directory of my, I'm going to browse the directory of my project. This one is my project, and I want to view it in file instead of project view. I'm going to see it in file views, and here is my file demo folders, and here is the project name. Okay, oh sorry, here is the project directory, and we're going to create a new folder from here. Okay, I'm going to create a new folder here, which is my dear. Okay, and from this here I'm going to right click on this one and create a new file. I want to choose other. I'm gonna choose other. I'm gonna choose file. Okay, empty file. Next I'm gonna choose here my file.txt. Okay, finish, and in this I'm gonna type this is my file. Okay, then you see from this file structure, so this one is my dear is under my project folder, and relatively if you specify, you can specify this file or this folder absolutely starting from my root folder, or you can specify this folder relatively under the project folder. Okay, so I'm going to create a directory object representing a directory. I'm sorry, a file object, a directory. So we're going to create a file object. This one is dear equal to new file object. Okay, and this one we're going to specify the string. You know, these are the four constructor of the file class. You can just check them one by one, but then we're going to just work on the simplest version, which is to specify the path of the directory of the file, and this time we are using the relative path instead of the absolute path. So this one we're going to specify it relatively under our project folder. This one is our project folder here, and that is my dear under my project folder. So this one, it is my dear. So I can check if dear.exists. Okay, if dear.exists, this one I want to display um, my dear exists, else we're going to show my dear doesn't exist. Okay, now if it exists, we're going to display whether it is a dear. Is it my dear is a directory? Yes or no? Okay, we're going to say dear dot is directory. Okay, this one will help us to check whether this object is representing a directory or a file. Okay, in this case, of course, it's gonna show it's a directory. And you can do several other things, like you can display some further information. Let's say get the name, for sure you know the name, just specify the name. Just now you can get the absolute path of, okay, we already know the relative path is here, and what is the absolute path? So we're going to display absolute path. We're gonna place this one, we're gonna take my dear dot get absolute path, sorry, dear dot get absolute path, this one, okay, get absolute path will return an absolute path representing this one. You can get some further information, let's say dear dot um, get get let's just go through them and see which one is important. Let's just see. No, it's not just get. Okay, let's just say last modifier. Okay, last modifier, this one will give us the time of the last modifier dates, and it's in forms of milliseconds, so we're going to convert it into dates. Okay, we're going to convert it into date object. Okay, and we're going to specify the long here, and that long is getting from our last modifier dates. Then we can, this one is last modified. We can get also the length of this directory. Okay, length of this directory. Sorry, we're gonna use dear dot get length. Now it's gonna be length, this length. Okay, and this one gonna place I think is in form of bytes. You can do a lot of other further things, like you can rename it dear dot rename, so on and so forth. Okay, dear dot delete, so on and so forth. But you can just test all of them, and this one shows some of them. So if you run this one, you'll see, let's see, my dear exists is true because it is there under the our project. So my dear is a directory, true is a directory. You'll see from here, it's my dear is a directory. Okay, then you can see other information like absolute path is starting this one from my root folder. Okay, last modified it is the one I created just now, and it's 102 bytes. Okay, similarly, I can do the another var object, which is my var equal to new var object, and this one we're going to specify the relative path, which is starting from my dear, then move to my var.txt. Now, the first thing is, why starting from my dear? Okay, why starting from my dear? Because you can see from here, here is my project folder, and it's the relatively start from this one. So my dear is a folder right after my dear, after my project folder. Then my file.txt is within it. Okay, so you can check all the information like this. Okay, but beside that, you can also do the things which is to check if, okay, my var is, okay, my var exists. Okay, my var exists. And this one is like yes, my var.txt exists. Otherwise, it's like else. Sorry. Okay, the var doesn't exist. Okay, that is the point. If you run this one, it's going to show you the result, which is my var exists. Okay, if somehow you give the wrong name, let's say my var number 1, and I don't have that var, if you run, you'll see the var doesn't exist. Okay, because this one returned to false. Okay, this one returned to false. So this one's supposed to be this one. Okay. If your var is a directory, you can also, if your var is a directory, let's say if it is dear, okay, you can also list all. You can also list all the sub directory or files within this object, this dear. Let's say you can do this one. You know, it's going to return a list of files. Okay, under that dear. Okay, list of files. You can use it by the list file. Okay, or you can call the list file by the or you can call the list file by the filter to filter the 5 types. We're going to use this one to list all types of file, and if you make a for loops from this one, you'll see that we have make a for loops from this one, and you'll see that we have our file over there, f dot we're going to display. It's our my file. Okay, display file dot get names. Okay, you'll see. If you run this one, you'll see. Okay, you can list all the files inside the directory. So we're gonna show it on top here. Files in MyDear. Okay, files in MyDear. So if you run this one, you'll see files in MyDear is my file. You'll see from here. You see from here, my file in MyDear. Let's just assume that we're going to create a new file, new file.txt. Okay, finish. We'll have something else here, and you're going to have two files inside there. Okay, you have two files inside there. Now let's see. We're going to run this one. Files in MyDear. You have my file and new file.txt as well. This one is my file, and this one is new file. Of course, if you have a folder within this one, it will be listed as well, because folder is also can be represented by a file. Okay, folder can be represented by a file object. You'll see this one is my folder, my file and new file, the file objects within this one using file listing. And there are several more features that you can test out for your file as well as your directory. Okay, you can just test by themselves, but these are the most frequently used things. Okay. And in the next lectures, we're going to introduce more about the java.io package. Okay, how to read and write data into some types of input output, okay, like from the network or to the network, or from the hard disk file to the hard disk file, from the array of memory. Okay, bye bye.